Hello and welcome back to Tutorial France, a series of videos I'm making for new players to EU4 to show a little bit about how it's done and explain the thinking that goes into putting together good strategy. So today we want to get to some action. We'll touch briefly on the economy, but then we'll actually unpause the game and get started with our preparations for war. We decided last time we're going to attack England. One thing we did forgot to do last time was check the relative army strengths, and strategize a little around that. To do that, we're going to want to open the ledger. You can do that by clicking the ledger key at the bottom of the minimap area, or you can hit the L key. I will be repeatedly hitting the L key to do this, as it's way faster. And actually, I was looking around first. Normally, you'd land on a screen like this that shows the ledger index, and then you could click armies to get to the army screen. So what we want to do here is find England, and we're mostly interested in the total number of troops they have and their force limit, most particularly right now because we're planning an immediate war, their current troops. So England has 26,000 troops and they can build up to 34,000. I'm not sure why this one has thousands and this one doesn't, but it's the same scale. So 26 out of 34. You'll notice we have 30 out of 35, so we can have more troops, and we do currently have more troops than England. If we look at our ally Castile, they bring another 23,000 to the table, and they have force limit 29. And then Portugal, who will be aiding our enemy, has 13,000 troops and a max of 17. So Castile should easily be able to handle Portugal. I don't know if Castile will actually attack, or the Castile and Portugal's armies will actually fight each other. It's possible that Castile will maneuver around Castile, come up through here, and I'll have to deal with them, and Castile will just siege down Portugal. Doesn't matter, as long as they do something to Portugal, I'll be happy. Right, so right now it's pretty good, a pretty good situation in terms of relative number of troops. We're probably going to want to begin this war relatively early to prevent France from acquiring any additional allies. We may wait, we'll probably want to wait until we'll have to wait until our diplomats get back, but we'll probably want to wait just a little bit so that our diplomat can get back to maybe offer another alliance and then declare war. So the one last thing I want to look at here before we move on is the Navy strength, and in particularly I'm interested in how many transports England has. That's this number here. They have 18 transports. That means they can grab 18 of units out of their 26 size army and dump them into a province over here by landing troops. That's actually bad for us that they have so many transports. I'd almost rather they had more military ships right now. It means I was hoping that I could leave a smaller sieging force behind, maybe 10 or something, and then take the rest of my army down here to help Spain just finish off Portugal and knock them out of the war. But that's not going to work. I'm going to have to keep the majority of my army up here because it's going to take. If it took England, if they had 4 transports and they had to sort of repeatedly ferry troops back and forth in order to get a sizable army, then I could afford to have my army far afield, but that's not going to work. So that strategy is out. Let's see. The force limit we looked at is kind of a measure of how strong a nation is economically. All of the economic sort of factors play into your force limit, and you can actually see on the screen. Naval force limit is based on the economic strength of your coastal provinces. We have very few coastal provinces. I somehow didn't get to the political map, but you can see we have Poitou and just 2 down here. So we only have 3 coastal provinces, and our force limit reflects that. You get 12 just for existing as an independent country, and then we only have 3 provinces that provide us about 4. Compare England, that also gets that same 12, but they have 20 coastal provinces, which produce, basically have enough economy to give them 27 additional force limit. Actually, it rounds up, so 28. No, I'm sorry, it's down. I'm blind, apparently. Yes, so 27 force limit from 20 provinces. England has a lot of coast. Virtually everything they have is coast. If we look over at the army force limit, it's a little bit fairer. You can see that England has more provinces than us. We'll have to fix that. But you can see that our actually fewer provinces. We have 3 fewer provinces, but we actually get 1 more force limit out of it. And that's because our provinces are better economically. So speaking of economy, let's take a brief look at the economy. I'm not going to go into a great deal of detail here. You can get to the economy tab by clicking on the shield icon to bring up the kingdom menu, and then go over to the third tab for economy. There are three main sources of your ducats income per month in the game, and those are the first three items in ledger here: taxation, production, and trade. Taxation and production comes from the economic value of your provinces, which I'll take a look at in a minute when I bring up the province screen and show how that works. Trade is a rather complicated system that involves controlling where the goods that are produced in the provinces flow around the world and being able to divert them to your areas. I'm actually going to mostly gloss over trade for the first few videos since it's reasonably complex, and France, I actually looked off screen at where our merchants are placed and made sure they were okay. France does not start in a particularly good position for trade, in my opinion. All their trade is getting sucked out by their neighbors, which is not good, but we'll deal with that as we conquer them. There can be discrepancies between the number that's listed here where it says we're making 219 a month, and here where it's saying we're losing 0.8 ducats a month. Not sure which of these is actually correct. I generally tend to trust this one since it's actually like adding up all the numbers, but I might be missing something. Some additional source of income this is taking into account. The expenses that we have to deal with mostly is going to be army maintenance and fort maintenance, and when we are colonizing, colonial maintenance can be quite high as well. Fleet maintenance also, as we actually get a bigger fleet. Our advisors right now look like a pretty big line item compared to some of these, but that won't go up that much. Even when we go to level 2 advisors later in the game, it just doesn't scale the same way that a country scales up. It's military. As you get bigger, you have to have more military troops, or you'll want more military troops. As you get bigger, you'll definitely have to have more forts. So those costs will go up quite a bit more. We can go ahead and turn our fleet maintenance down. I'm not planning to fight a naval battle against England at all. I'm just going to leave my ships docked up in Poitou. It might be safer to send them around here to the Mediterranean, but that would take a while. They'd have to sail right past Portugal, who's going to be hostile as soon as I initiate this war. And you never know who England's going to pull in as allies. I've actually seen them pull in people from over here, like Genoa or something, and then my ships wouldn't be any safer over here anyway. I really don't think England's going to be able to take Poitou, especially since I'm not going to be sending my army very far afield. It'll take them months to siege it, and I'll have plenty of time to respond. So we do want to build some troops. You saw that we had 30 out of 35 force limit when we were looking at, well, we got 30 here, and you saw our force limit was 35. There's another screen that makes it clearer if you go to the kingdom menu, again by opening the shield, and go to the second from the right one, little helmet with a spear through it apparently. This is the military menu, and it shows that, like I said, we've got 30 out of 35 force limit. We've got 15 out of 16 boats. I'm actually going to ignore the boats for now because, again, we're not that strong of a naval power, and we're pretty close to our force limit anyway. And there's a lot of numbers on the screen. I'll explain some of them as we go, but right now I'm just looking at the force limit. Here are our two military leaders. That's why we're getting this penalty for having too many military leaders, but they're both quite good at the beginning of the game. In particular, this guy, Jean Bureau, that has a 3 siege value. That will make sieging these provinces, well, the ones with forts, much faster. So we definitely want to hold on to him, and this guy's pretty good in a fight too. So we want them both. There's no reason to fire one. They'll die of old age within 20 years or so anyway, so it's not like it's a permanent penalty, and then we probably won't hire one for a while because the ones you hire natively don't tend to be as good. It depends on your army tradition, which is this number. But certainly with an army tradition of 13, we'd get utter crap for generals, so we won't bother with that. So, right, we need to build troops. There's 2 ways to do that. You can click on the province, and while we're here, we'll take a look at the province screen. But first, if I wanted to build a troop here, I could recruit regiment, click the recruit regiment button, and go in and click the troop here. And then if I wanted to build 4 more, I'd have to go to 4 other provinces and do that. And that's typically not the way we'll do it. I'll show you how to do it through the production interface, or the quick build menu I like to call it, in just a minute. But while we're here, let's take a look at some of the characteristics of Paris. So this picture gives you a sense of what the terrain's like. Paris is farmlands. A lot of France's, northern France's farmlands or grasslands. Got some woods, got some hills. Spain has some mountains. If you go down in Morocco, there's like highlands or something like that. Dry plains. There's probably some desert around somewhere. Yeah, there's some desert. Coastal desert? Yeah, coastal desert. So there's lots of different terrains. The terrain mostly affects building costs and also, some terrain gives you a defensive bonus, and other terrain you take attrition just for walking into it, or has really low supply limits. So we have mostly friendly terrain. We'll try to defend in the woods if we can, and not attack in the woods. But for the most part, there's not a whole lot we can do about that if we want to be on the offensive. So other things about provinces, sort of economic overview. The 11 number here, that's how much tax the province produces. So basically, this is the amount that the people that are wealthy enough, or there's a number of a high number of them, that they're going to pay me 11 ducats a month. Excuse me. That would be really nice if it was 11 ducats a month. 11 ducats a year in taxes, and you can see that gets broken down into monthly payments here. 11's quite strong. Paris is actually one of the best provinces in the game. There's probably a few better ones out there at the beginning of the game, but Paris is really strong. Compare that to, say, London, which is England's capital. They've only got 8 base tax, which is just as good as Champagne, 6s and 5s. And this is all still really what wealthy terrain. We go up to something like Norway, and you've got 1s and 2s and stuff, because there's just not very many people living, and they're not that wealthy. So we get 11 ducats worth a year. The next thing is how much we produce, and this doesn't translate directly to money, but it does in a way. We'll see that in just a second here. So we produce 11 lots of goods, which is actually 0.2 goods per sort of number here. So it's really 2.2 goods. This number is slightly inflated because we've got a trading republics, merchant republic somewhere around. It's either Genoa or the Hansa that is giving us that bonus. But basically, this should be 2.2. You can actually see that in the tooltip, and it's boosted. Then each province has a trade good that it produces. So Paris produces cloth, Champagne produces wine. There's a grain province, and those trade goods have prices. It's not really a market-based system. There's no supply and demand measurements. There actually used to be. They cut it out in a patch because it was hogging game resources and slowing the game down. And it didn't do anything terribly interesting anyway. Basically, prices just tended to tank over the long term as people built up their supply, but demand was auto-generated by the game and didn't keep up. So that's gone, and instead we have relatively flat prices that change based on events. So at some point, it'll become the in thing to put your soldiers in a uniform, and then the price of cloth will go up, not grow up. Once the Protestant Reformation sort of sets in and a bunch of countries flip out of being of Catholic, then they don't need as much fish, so the price of fish will drop. Things like that. When bronze cannons come into play, the price of copper goes up. There's a whole bunch of different trade goods. There's a whole bunch of different reasons they can go up and down. We'll see some of those events fire, and for the most part, we're not worrying that much about it. But the amount of goods you produce times the value of the goods gives you your trade value. So we produce basically 7 ducats worth of trade value, and that means we would get 7 ducats per year in trade income from this province, which is also nice. So if you take the 11 base tax and the 7 trade value, this just makes us 18 ducats by having hold of Paris. So obviously we're not going to want to lose our capital, but that shows sort of the worth of it. For the most part, I won't tend to look that closely at the base tax or the base economic values of the things that I conquer. I'll just take them. But where possible, we'll be on the lookout for good land. Right. If you actually look, the amount that we get per year is actually 769 rather than 7. That's because from technology, everybody in Europe starts with a technology of 3. Everybody starts with this 10% production bonus. So we get 0.7 additional. If you 6.99 times 1.1, you'd get 769. So again, that's broken out into monthly payments here. And then the third number here is the manpower. So this particular province, manpower goes in lots of 250. So I'm not sure why we have 3250. Oh, it's because French traditions, right? Okay, so we would generally have about 2,500 manpower, and that is max manpower that it contributes towards our cap. So our cap is 35,023. Paris contributes 25. Well, it actually contributes 3,250 because of all our bonuses, all by itself. And that also translates into 325 men added to our manpower pool. So manpower from provinces affects both your maximum possible manpower, which for us is 38,679. Actually, I think I misspoke and said it was 35,023. That's our current manpower. Our max manpower is 38,679. So once you get that, apparently, you know, your manpower pool is being added to by youths growing up and being eligible for military service, and it's sort of offset by people dying from old age or just being too old and injured to serve in the army. So that's important because our manpower will drop, especially in the beginning of the game when we can't afford to hire mercenaries. And you know, we want manpower to bring it back up. So Paris is just a fantastic province. I mean, that's 11, 11, 10 is incredible. This number is just telling us what the total value of these things are. 11, 11, and 10 is 32. And I'll deal with this number when we get to development, which is going to be much later. I think that's about everything on here I want to cover, and I actually want to get the game started because we're already halfway into this video, and we still haven't unpaused. So let's go ahead and do that. And I like to have lots of messages on, so I've got very aggressive message settings. But there's going to be a lot of stuff that I'm just going to ignore as we go along. I'll just right-click it and kill it. You know, in particular, I turned on the Muslim countries down here to keep an eye on, not because I actually plan to fight them or anything, but because they often will go to war with Castile or Portugal, and I want to be aware of when that happens. So we can see that we had offered alliances to Austria and Castile. Austria has accepted our alliance. We don't care about Brandenburg and Mantua. Thank you very much. And Castile has accepted our military alliance. So we now have 2 allies. We now have 3 of 4. I thought about the Scotland thing. I'm going to leave them alone for the moment. I don't really need that slot right now. And I do have some interest in England not owning Scotland, and I can always refuse to defend them if I feel like it, if they actually get attacked. So we'll keep it for the deterrence values. I don't care about any of that. Navarra wants an alliance with us. I said I didn't necessarily want to ally with Navarra right off the bat because Aragon or Castile might attack them. And I'm still a little worried about that. I'm actually going to delay. I don't have to make a decision on this until the 13th of January. I've got almost 2 months. Actually, I've got more than 2 months. And I'm going to wait. The AI will tend to form up their alliance network within the first month or so, and then I'll have a better idea of what Aragon's going to do. If they've got powerful allies and they haven't allied Navarra, I'll probably not want to help Navarra. Castile, I'm not as worried about. If Castile decides to attack Navarra, I just can, you know, not defend them. Then because I'm allied to the defender, I won't be eligible to participate in the attack either. So that's an all-around good situation. So we're going to leave that one alone. I was going to build some additional troops, and I got distracted by the economy. Right, so this is how I typically do it. I'll go to the production interface, or I'll just click the V key. Again, most of the time I'm going to be clicking V because it's way faster. And this is a much nicer interface for doing this because I can see the relative days that it takes. Helps me pick out the provinces I want to build it in. I can see what's free. You see this nice green crosshatch, so I know not to go to this province because it's already busy with something. You also note that the regiments that I'm recruiting appear in the outliner. So let's see. That makes sense. That makes sense. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Sure, that'll work. Alright, so we built 5 troops. You can see we had this is another way to check your force limit. We had 30 out of 35, and we have 5 infantry in production. We already have plenty of cavalry. We've got 8 cavalry. I only want to have 4 per army, and I'm going to have 2 armies, so that's more than enough. I do want to balance these armies out a little bit. So in order to do that, I click on the army to select it. And then I go to this arrows pointing different directions, which is create new unit. I click on that, and it brings up another screen. So I want to send half my cavalry, so there's 4 of them, over to, I'm going to send these up to Paris. And let's see, we'll have 35. I'll make 1 army of 20 and 1 army of 15. And we've got one, when we built units, we built one here. So I'll assume that, let's see, this one will be the one of 20. So if I make it 20, but it's going to get 1 more when that's built. I'll make it. I'll just leave it 20 for now, and even the army that's built here I'll send to Paris. So we'll send these 5 infantry and these 4 cavalry. Now we'll select this unit. I could just close it and leave them both here, but I want to select this new unit I made, the Armée du Nord, and send it to Paris to join our one little guy that's chilling up there. So we'll wait for those troops to get in position before we do anything. I did reduce the fleet maintenance. Yes, I did. Okay. Yeah, I'm not planning to fight any wars. I could reduce the army maintenance, and in many cases at the beginning of the game you would, because you wouldn't have a reason to go to war with somebody, and it would take some time to be prepared for that, and you wouldn't want to be paying army maintenance. We actually can go to war almost immediately with England, and we'll be doing so probably within a month or so. And I'll look a little bit more at the war screen when we get there. So let's resume, and we're going to see lots and lots and lots of people offering alliances, most of which I'm just going to completely ignore for now, and then take a look at who did England? Ooh, Tyrone. I don't care about Tyrone. That means that now we're fighting Tyrone, but that's this, excuse me, Ulster, but that's this tiny little Irish province that we don't care about. Okay, so our diplomat is back from Castile. As we talked about last time, we have a mission to improve relations with the Pope, so I'm going to go ahead and send him over to Rome to do that. And let's see, diplomat. Okay. So we could go ahead and declare war now, but I'd really like this army to get in a little bit better shape, or get this army unified. So I'd like to wait just a bit longer. Let's see. I'm a little concerned. Sometimes England England doesn't like us, so they'll basically try to ally with people on the other side of us in order to make us surrounded, add to their ally count. Savoy is an ally. They're rivals with the Pope. Don't know that I like that. I guess I could just refuse to help them if they go into an offensive war with the Pope. They don't like Burgundy. I like that. Okay, let's. They're friendly, so they'll almost certainly take an alliance. They probably won't help us against England, but really all I want to do is just not have them ally England. And the fact that I would be allied with them means they'll be far less likely to seek an alliance with England for a number of reasons, and England would be less likely to grant it. So, great. Let's ask Savoy for an alliance. I guess if we did accept this Navarre alliance, that would put us over the limit. Well, maybe I won't keep that guarantee with Scotland after all. Lithuania always allies Poland. Yeah, this. I'm going to turn the game speed up because speed 1 is just really slow. And he comes back from Savoy. Alright, we could declare war on England right now, and he only has 2 allies. It's actually fairly tempting. He can get more allies after the war is declared, but they won't be automatically called into the war, and they may not be interested in fighting it. His troops, they're pretty close. Only about 7 days away from reaching. Oh, that's no more. They will be in Paris on the 10th of December. So let's wait till the 10th of December. What does this guy want to do in the meantime? Yeah, we'll improve relations with Brittany for a month. Or really 5 days. It's the end of the month ticks that matter where your diplomats are when they're improving relations. Lithuania supporting Sweden, Scotland entering an alliance. Yeah, I don't care about any of that. Interesting. Alright. England is improving relations with the Pope. Please tell me England is not going to ally with the Pope. That would be not good. Alright, Aragon has allied with Navarra. That means I could safely accept this alliance. Care about Scotland and Munster. I could accept this alliance, but that would put me over the limit. And I don't really like that idea. Because I'm at 4-4. I definitely can't go over. Because we need all of our diplo points. You've noticed that our points went up at the end of the month, and what happened to our ducats? Actually, I wasn't paying attention. That's not the right thing. Yeah, we made some money. We made a dollar or a ducat and 3/100ths of a ducat. I don't know how you cut up a gold coin into hundredths, but whatever. Right. So I was thinking about do I want to ally Navarra? I can almost certainly vassalize them. That's what vassalizing is a way of taking over a country's land where it doesn't disappear and you don't get control of the land, but they have to fight on your side in every war, and they can't make certain kinds of decisions. Actually, they can't make very many decisions for themselves. They have no foreign policy. We set it for them. So it's nice to have vassals, and there's multiple ways to get them. You can beat somebody up, and instead of taking their land for yourself, you can just make them your vassal if they're small enough. Or in some cases, you can actually do what's called diplomatic vassalization or diplo-vassalizing, and you can basically say, "I'm really big and you're really small, and you're surrounded by dangerous people. Would you like to be our vassal?" And you have to have a relations of 190 with the country. Right now we've got 29, so we're a long way off. So it's not actually legal for us to offer vassalization. That's why it's grayed out. But we can nevertheless see whether they would accept or not. And Navarre would totally accept vassalization. It's a long way and positive. It's because we're very big and they're very small. Unfortunately, the sort of the size that you need to be in order for that to be a positive modifier actually scales up quadratically compared to the size of the target country. So if we look at something like Brittany, they're much, as you see, they have negative 78 reasons to vassalize because we're still bigger than them. We're still a lot bigger than them, but we're not anywhere near big enough for them to think we're big enough to be a good overlord. It'd be nice if we could vassalize Brittany, but no, we're going to have to actually conquer that land, almost certainly. That 78 is just too big of a penalty to overcome. If it was negative 20 or something, negative 30, by the time we conquered the rest of this stuff, we might be big enough for it to not matter, but 78 is just way too far. So I could vassalize Navarra. I could try to vassalize Navarra. One of these guys might beat me to it. Is that worth a Diplo slot? I don't really think Scotland is that important to me right now. I don't really want England to take them over, but on the other hand, I really don't care that much. So fine, I don't have a diplomat. I need to come back from Brittany, please. I will revoke that guarantee and then accept Navarra's. All right, what happened? We got our diplomat back. Savoy wants to royally marry us. Not so sure about that, Savoy. This is mostly an alliance of immediate convenience. You're pretty young. I'm pretty old, but I don't want to waste a diplomat's time, so fine, I'll accept it. I'll explain the mechanics of that a little bit later. Don't want to go into that right now. Don't care about that. The Papal State allying Austria. I really don't want to fight the Papal State, so that's good. And really don't care what's going on in Russia. So now we're going to... I didn't actually revoke it yet. Okay, we're going to revoke this guarantee, so that's an influence action, so they're not going to like us, but sorry Scotland. Maybe they don't care. No, we've got a truce with them. Yeah, okay. You can't just stop guaranteeing them. Hey, nobody else can attack you. We're guaranteeing your independence. Okay, now we want to kill you, so we're going to take over your independence. The game won't let you do that. It forces a truce after you cancel a guarantee. That's fine. We might go back later and make friends again with Scotland. But right now, yep, we have a slot free. Let's accept this alliance from Navarra and try to peacefully vassalize them. And now we're at 79. We have to get all the way up to 190. We'll get a royal marriage with them, which will kick us up another 25. There are other things that we can do. So we're fighting with Aragon probably for that. And again, I still don't care about what's going on in Russia. All right, let's keep going. Play a little bit. Let's try to get to the end of the year, and then, or at least where we're going to declare war, and then end the video. Or I might do it. Yeah, I'll probably do it when we declare war, which is going to be in a few days. So Genoa entered a military alliance with Austria. That's fine. I'm not going to be attacking them. Hungary and Austria always happens. Yeah, I don't care about any of this. Okay, keep going. And hey, our army's in Paris. So we don't really want two separate armies. I mean, I could order them around independently, or I could, drag a bunch around every time and select all of them and then send them somewhere. But really, I want to merge these armies together. So again, if you click on it, you select them in turn. So I can, what I really want to do is select both of them. So I draw a box around them, select them both. And I want to group these armies together as a cohesive unit. So I click the thing that shows two things going together, which is the merge, or I can hit G. In practice, I will hit G. So if you see armies, being sucked together into one, it's probably me hitting the G key. But here we'll actually click it. So I now have a 10 strength army here in Paris, and I should probably send this army up in this direction. So I grabbed it and I right-clicked on Alençon to send it up towards the general area that. Actually, do I want to attack that first? Where do I want to attack first? Yeah, I don't know. Yes, actually I want to attack it first, because I want to, Co is their fort? No, Co is not a fort. Normandy is their fort. So I want to take Normandy first. I'll take Co as well. That will mean that when they come to attack me, they will tend to try to take Normandy back. If I do it the other way around, if I try to attack down here, then they may push through and try to siege Paris. I don't want to have that happen. So we'll try to siege these two up first, and then come down here to the Gascony area and deal with that. Don't care about those. Okay, so the question is, no, we don't have a diplomat. 2 days. Okay, 12th of December. Are we feeling sufficiently belligerent that we could attack England? I think we're ready. So I'm actually going to go ahead and end the episode here, and then next episode we'll talk about Casus Belli, which is what you need to declare a war, and we'll actually start fighting this war. So thank you for watching. Have a nice day.